What is up, Hulkamaniacs? Welcome to another freshly baked episode of Big Boys and Body Slams. My name is Zach. Over here, we have Luke.
Oh, yeah, big boys and body slams, yeah.
And we have Kyle over here.
I'm still here. And Luke just got another loss in fantasy football.
0-4, yeah.
Yikes. Anyways, we are Big Boys and Body Slams. Episode 8, by the way, right? 8?
Yeah, dude.
I'm going to ask for clarification every time.
Yeah, we're at episode 8.
We're almost to double digits. That is...
What should we do for 10?
Well, we already have it planned out.
No, I know, but we got to do like something like celebratory.
We should get party poppers and pop them off in here.
As long as you guys clean it up.
Yeah, of course. Right now, you can listen to us on a variety of platforms like iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud. That's it.
Not Spotify.
That ship might have sailed. We'll get there eventually.
One day, Spotify, we're gonna come to your front door.
Yes. We have an interesting show today, but first, a little bit of housekeeping. Guys, we need to be a little vulnerable. We need to wear our hearts a little bit on our sleeves right now.
In the arms of an angel.
Thank you, Luke. Guys, we're slowing down a little bit. We came out of the gates pretty strong. People were listening. People were responding. People were engaging. We cooled off a little bit. And we don't like that. The Big Boys and Body Slams do not like that. So we need you guys to listen, share, engage with us, talk to us. We need it. We need your feedback.
Let's keep the dream alive.
Keep the dream alive. Keep Hulkamania alive. It says, please help for your audio listeners. Yeah, we're slowing down. And let's get back to the point where we were at, where we were really kicking some heavy duty booty, as Dude Love would say. Support the podcast any way you can. We do have a Patreon.
Some heavy duty booty.
Thank you. I was hoping you'd do the impression there. I'm not an impression guy. We are on patreon.com/bigboysandbodyslams. A lot of cool perks to check out there. We have a merch store up, bigboysbodyslams.storeenvy.com, 2 weeks in a row with no t-shirt sales.
Let's get some t-shirts, guys.
Yeah. Let's get some shirts going.
Don't make me yell at my dad to buy one, man.
Do it anyways.
He should buy one.
I'm going to yell at my dad to buy one.
He should definitely buy one. We are on Twitter at BB&BS Podcast. It's a bit of a handle, but once you find, you can just search Big Boys and Body Slams. We're probably the only account that'll come up. We have I do have to say, a little brag time. We do have our first professional wrestler or ex-professional wrestler following us on Twitter. Luke, who is it?
The one and only Sean Stasiak.
Doctor.
Sorry.
So Sean, if you're listening, I'm sure he's listening, right?
He's got to be listening.
Yep.
Thanks for the follow, bud. What do we have today, guys?
We have a request show from Dakota Zankner, best friend of the podcast.
The very best friend of the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
We bumped that right up there on the list.
Yeah, he's our man. He said WrestleMania 10, one of his all-time favorite shows. Kind of got to disagree with him on that.
WrestleMania X.
Yeah, okay, WrestleMania X, which means 10 in Roman numerals.
Yes.
Oh, thanks, genius.
But yeah, Dakota said this is one of his favorites.
10 years in the making was the catchphrase for this WrestleMania, and it's coming to us from March of 1984 from Madison Square. 1994, I apologize.
Come on.
From Madison Square Garden in New York City. Should we get into it?
Yeah, the show. Before we get in, I want to say the show is pretty good, but I don't think it stands the test of time that it once did.
I'm also going to say, in the first episode, we talked about those video packages, the WrestleMania video packages, and I was saying if I have to see that little tidbit of I think I said mariachi at that time or something, but Liberace, R.I.P. and I got your name right.
Yeah, so what Luke's basically saying is we did get, it wasn't even a video package, it was just a WrestleMania 1 hype package, which would be kind of a theme of the night, and you know, it's 10 years in the making, so of course we're going to go through each WrestleMania, starting with 1, which is basically what the show opened with. And
I think also it's a good thing to point out that this is a weird era for WWE. This is they're kind of moving away from the Hogan era. You know, you're seeing Savage in one of his last matches. You're seeing Hennig and Piper, who are almost out of there as well. Those three are going to be going to WCW with Hogan soon. Yep. But you're not quite at the height of the Austin era, so you're in this era where Bret Hart is going to be the new guy that carry the company. They're trying to make Lex Luger be the next Hogan, and they're setting guys like Michaels up for future success too. Yeah,
so that it does make for a very interesting dynamic on the show, I think. And again, something else a little different this week is that typically we all watch the shows together and then directly give our feedback about them after, but we're kind of always talking to each other during the show. This week, however, had some things to deal with during
Somebody's more important than us.
Evening, and I watched the show separately, so this is going to be an unfiltered reaction to that they have to my reaction from the show. So that's going to be interesting as we go along. We haven't really talked about it that much. We mostly don't know what we thought of the matches, so that'll be fun.
Yay.
Should we get into it?
Yep.
Let's do it.
So after that little WrestleMania 1 hype package, Vince is in the ring, and he welcomes Little Richard, who comes out.
Little Richard!
He's not quite at that point yet. He's kind of doing his broadcasting voice here.
Well,
and
he's
and
pretty
King
fired
is
up.
ripping Little Richard to shreds.
Yeah, and Richard does come out to sing. Can I call him Richard, or is it Little Richard?
Call him Little Rich.
Little Richie.
There you go.
Comes out to sing
Little-
America
little-
the Beautiful. Beautiful rendition of America the Beautiful. Very early 90s. Just the whole presentation of WWE at this time.
soulful.
Yeah.
And it actually makes me... you go back and you look at Johnny B. Bad, Mark Marrow's character in WCW, who was like patterned exactly after Little Richard. And it's uncanny how close they make him look like
I
Little
know.
Richard. You know, especially without him being black.
Oh,
Like
definitely.
Mark Marrow just being a white guy.
Definitely. So he sings America the Beautiful, stirring rendition. He has a chorus backing him up. It's pretty sweet. And then ringside, the King gets introduced as Vince McMahon's broadcast partner. So we do have Vince and the King in the booth. Yes?
Two things. I'm sorry. Jerry Lawler is fucking hilarious in this pay-per-view.
Oh, he's great.
He's off his meds
So,
or
so
something in this
I'm
show.
going to keep you very informed on Lawler quotes. And let's just start off with King popping up. Is that his real voice, or is his underwear just too tight? Great one.
Classic.
Also, Vince said Little Richard is arguably the original king of rock and roll.
That's Elvis.
What the hell, dude? Vince, nobody said that.
It just proves that nothing's changed
Shut
with
the hell up.
It just proves that nothing's changed with the extreme lengths that Vince always likes to go. Like even back then, he's going to extremes all the time.
Just like WWE's favorite band.
Limp Bizkit. Roll and roll and roll and roll.
Yeah. What?
That was awesome. So we do get, after that, one of our only video packages from the night that is not based on old WrestleManias, and that is the hype package for the first match of the night, which of course is Brett versus Owen Hart.
I'm gonna say something real quick about Brett and Owen. I guess I've never really been a Brett fan because I don't like him, but I like his wrestling, but I don't like his attitude outside of wrestling lately about all the other wrestlers. I guess so. I guess it's inside wrestling still, but his color schemes that he wore were always the best.
Oh, yeah.
The themes, the glasses.
Yep, the pink and black and the glasses and he always looked like a badass.
Which I just came directly from work here today, so I'm just gonna pretend like I'm supporting the Hitman.
Wait, I thought this was your job.
He means at the studio. He was,
Yeah,
he was cutting some
I
promos
was-
and stuff.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anyway, Zach, take us in with the action.
Yeah, so we do get a little video package hyping things up. Basically, Owen is jealous of Brett and wants to be better than him in every way. Thinks he is better than him and is going to prove that tonight. Both men make their entrances. Owen comes out, kind of wearing the shades, the Brett shades, gets to the ring, tears him up into pieces. I liked that a lot. That was really nice touch.
Such a good heel, dude.
And then, of course, Brett comes out and just gets a mammoth pop from this crowd. One of the biggest pops of the night. They love Brett. And they do not like Owen at all, which, and like in a good way, he's got some nice classic heel heat.
Ah, the old days of kayfabe.
Yes. So they get in the match, and immediately when they get started. We get a lot of mat-based technical wrestling to start. Of course, why would you expect any different from Brett and Owen Hart? Two of the better technical wrestlers, I think, in the history of the...
Better?
Two of the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. In the history of wrestling.
Me and Luke were talking about it during the match. Brett is number 1 or 2.
Yep.
On the best technical wrestling.
Angle's the only one that can touch him.
And then Owens in top 5.
Yep.
I agree.
I mean, you got to probably put Daniel Bryan up there and William Regal or something like that. Both those two.
Yeah, Chris
Benoit, yes.
Yeah. Somebody like that.
Yeah.
But Owens got to be top 5.
And I will say that, Brett is just in a league of his own technically, but Owen also is no slouch either. He's tremendous, but what he does lack that Brett has in technical wrestling, Owen makes up for it in agility and the high flying stuff.
And what Owen lacks is really just
it's for sure
a hair.
And it showed in this match just how both men were pretty much at the top of their game, I think, here.
Yes. Yes.
So eventually, Owen gets sent outside, doesn't care for that, comes back in and just slaps Brett. Just open hand slap right in the face. I love a good heel slap, and that was a very good one. And then Owen gets into a headlock, but he escapes, and lots of more technical work after that. And then there's a cradle roll up by Brett for the first near fall of the matchup. And then Owen gets sent back outside and then gets back in. Brett hits another roll up for a near fall, and then we get a very short rest hold, which gets countered into a backslide for a near fall. A lot of backslides and cradles I noticed in this match
Just
for near
sweet
falls.
counters, dude.
Yeah, just a lot of quick action. Again, both guys in the prime just doing what they did best. It was really nice to see. Eventually, both men get outside. Brett gets sent into the post, which is kind of funny because in 1994 they were selling that like that's the end of the match, like Brett's dead. But in today's WWE, it's like one of the most overused spots, I think. And so it's nice to back then to see it and have it actually mean something.
Well, and the crazy thing is as much as we see it nowadays, it's still, to me watching it now, it still meant something.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even it felt like the hitting your face on the post, it felt like they were selling it harder. It felt like it looked more realistic. Even the steel step spots looked way more brutal to me for whatever reason.
You know what else was during these matches? There were a couple times where guys would jump to the outside of the ring, like not suicide dive,
yeah, like planches,
yeah. And it was like a huge spot for those fans. Those fans were going nuts for it. I think there's one in this match.
Well, I think there is. I think that part of the reason that the spot looked so much better back then was that the ring post was actually steel back then, as opposed to being like that weird meshy screen LED that it is now. So it just had more, impact back then, if that makes sense. So we get back in the ring. Owen hits a really nice Cobra clutch on Brett, who escapes, and then Owen decides he doesn't like the escape and hits just this sweet belly-to-belly suplex off of an Irish whip. That was one of my favorite spots in this match.
I don't know if anyone does it better.
The quickness on it was amazing. Basically, Brett was Irish whipped, and then it was almost like, how Randy does that running power slam? It was like that, but it was a belly-to-belly suplex. It was a really cool spot. Then we get a crossbody for a near fall. Owen taunts the crowd, and then Owen hits a bridging German suplex that was really nice for a near fall. I actually kind of bought into that maybe it was going to be the finish of the match. It was pretty convincing, and we were just getting started, really. So Brett blocks a suplex into a roll-up for a near fall. Owen hits a tombstone and then misses for a flying headbutt.
The tombstone that he should have hit on Austin.
The tombstone looked great, and so did the flying headbutt.
I will say that my sphincter was clenched when he was going for that tombstone.
As long as he's not sitting out, he's got it.
Yeah. No, it was a good spot. And if I see, obviously it's something you don't see anymore. Pile drivers in general is obviously something you don't see anymore in WWE.
Well, and there came a point where, I mean, back then, sure, you could use a tombstone, but once Taker became the guy, I mean, which he kind of was, but kind of wasn't. Once he became the guy, no one was touching the tombstone.
Really, Taker and Kane are the only two you ever see a pile driver from anymore.
Right.
And Kane very rarely breaks out the tombstone.
Yeah. No, so it was kind of funny to just see it as a spot in this matchup. But again, he does miss for the flying headbutt, and then Brett recovers, hits a clothesline for a near fall, gets a Russian leg sweep for a near fall, then gets an axe handle for a near fall, cannot put Owen away, and then Owen recovers, hits an enziguri, tries for a sharpshooter. Brett tries for a sharpshooter of his own. Both men are able to get out of it. Owen goes for a backslide off the counter for a near fall, and then Owen goes outside to catch his breath.
He does.
And Brett hits a flying crossbody over the top rope onto Owen. The crowd popped big for that. And I think that's the spot maybe you were mentioning
that was
earlier, Kyle. Really cool to see Brett kind of pull that out of his repertoire, because I was thinking, I wonder if we're going to see anything high risk, because it's not something I associate with Bret Hart, really. When I think Bret Hart, I don't think of him doing high risk things like that, and to see him kind of pull that out at a desperate time in this matchup was really, really well done.
Right.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, after that, Brett started selling the leg.
Yeah.
And I thought Owen did a really good job.
Yeah, and I wrote down
healing it up by making fun of his limp.
He would limp. Yeah.
Brett would limp, and then Owen would mock him.
Good heel.
And I was sitting there, I'm like, that's a lost art now. And there's not too many guys other than Kevin Owens in the WWE that do it.
Yeah. Well, not only that, just the offense he was getting on Brett's knee after that crossbody spot was really innovative. And it was obviously he ran his knee into the post. At one point he hit this like modified figure four almost. It was before he got the actual figure
when he
four.
pushed the knee with his foot.
I mean, that was really cool. I've never seen that hold done before.
It's some sort of death lock. I can't remember what it's called.
This whole match after this part, Brett was holding his knee and acting like his knee was hurt.
Yeah.
And that's something that in a lot of matches, I think it was New Blood Rising, where was it Booker T forgot that he was selling his knee injury.
That was so ridiculous.
But you see that all the time. The guys forget that their legs are supposed to be hurt. And Brett keeps it up to the whole show.
Because he's the ultimate storyteller.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of the things that I've been harsh on in wrestling matches is, and I've said it time and time again on this podcast, is that when you don't do it right, the selling of one body part in a match can just drag the momentum and the pace of a match down. This was not that at all.
No.
This added to the story of this match, and it added fuel to the fire, and Brett sold it well, but he was still able to get offense in, and he was still able to do a lot of his moves in his repertoire, except maybe one very important move that was in his repertoire, which would be his finishing move, which I think he did get in.
Oh yeah, I do know. I will say this right quick. I'm sorry. I know we're gushing. He does deserve it. We have crapped a little bit on Brett, so yes, he absolutely deserves it. But you said I didn't expect that crossbody from him, and that kind of brings up a great point about Bret Hart. Is he just does. He just takes the spots that are the most logical. Like his timing is so perfect to bust out a high spot that he doesn't have to do them all the time. That doesn't have to be his signature, because he's going to bust it out when the time is right and when he knows it will get the biggest pop and the biggest momentum shift.
Yeah, definitely. So again, Brett is selling his knee. Owen's really working it over. He at one point does get the actual figure 4 in, but Brett is able to reverse the pressure and then get to the ropes once Owen starts to reverse it back. So he gets out of that. And then Brett is really hobbling at this point. And then Owen does get sent hard into the corner for a near fall. And then Brett hits a running bulldog for another near fall.
Beautiful.
That bulldog was great.
I'm gushing on Brett tonight, and I never do this.
Both men looked fantastic.
Oh yeah, so crisp. Every move.
Every single move was crisp.
Yeah. It was art.
I think one of my dream matches, like that's never gonna happen, would be Prime Bret Hart versus Prime Kurt Angle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would love that.
Can you imagine?
I would have loved that. Yeah. And then a really nice superplex, which I said out loud by myself. That was a nice superplex.
I think we might have said that too.
I think we did, yeah.
Can't put Owen away with that. Owen just is kicking out of everything in this match. He looked really strong here.
Mm-hmm.
And then Owen does get the sharpshooter. Brett reverses. Brett gets the sharpshooter. Owen gets the rope break. And then Brett sends Owen into the corner and then like gets on his shoulders like an electric chair, but Brett's doing it on purpose. And then he goes for kind of a sunset flip.
The victory roll is what it's called.
But he can't get Owen telegraphs it basically and can see it coming and doesn't let him roll him over and instead pins Brett for the victory.
So good.
What a neat finish that was.
So good.
It was totally a way of like, I know the way my brother wrestles. I've scouted him and I know what he's going to try. And he stopped it and it was logical and it made sense. And surprisingly enough, Owen gets the win here.
I was
surprised.
It was a really fantastic match.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a hot opener. The crowd loved it.
What a way to start a WrestleMania.
Yeah, I would have almost rather it gone on last though, but.
Well, and I think this rivalry did not end there. I'm pretty sure this was the same year that they had that SummerSlam match, the SummerSlam cage match.
Cage match, yeah.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, their rivalry was amazing. Owen Hart is just.
He's the man.
He's such a great heel, and he's always been like that. He's always been like so good at that whiny, woe is me, I'm the better, just the younger spoiled brother.
Yeah.
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
I always remember him. I think this was around his time in the Nation, if anyone remembers that, when people would call him, the crowd would call him a nugget, and he would get so mad. I am not a nugget. That was like my lasting memory of Owen.
I just wish they could come to some agreement to let him in the Hall of Fame because he deserves it.
Yeah.
And you know what? His brothers and sisters and family deserve that moment.
Yeah, I agree. It's a shame that he was taken from us when he was so talented. About this match though, I'm going to give it a 4.25. I thought it was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I gave it 4.5. I thought it was one of the best matches. Probably one of the best matches in WrestleMania history.
It was very good.
It's up there, yeah. Yeah, I gave it 4.5. There's a couple things. Lawler quote. I should have just stopped you in the middle. Lawler quote time. I can see Helen. It's referring to the Hart's mother, Helen. I can see Helen now, 2 inches away from the screen. It's the only way she can see.
That's right. Hearing aids turned all the way up. I think he threw in there too.
Yeah. And then this is back when you could tell what kind of era they were in, because when you heard the Brett pump up chants, it was just straight kids. Like it was just, let's go Brett. And then last thing, something you guys didn't know, which I was actually surprised. Back then, wrestlers didn't tap to submit. So like Kyle saw Brett, tapping the mat and was like, isn't that a submission? No. Like, so you had to say, I give up. And I'm pretty sure that was Ken Shamrock when he came in. That was his whole thing. He's going to make you tap, and Kurt Angle too, all that. But I think it was when they introduced that from UFC. I think that's kind of something that
I never
mixed.
knew that.
Yeah, I never knew that either. I always thought tapping out was
I guess it makes sense because that's where Ask Him probably comes from, because you hear heel wrestlers say that all the time. Chris Jericho is really famous for doing that. So I guess maybe that's the origins of that. It makes sense. But I'm glad that we can have tapping in today's.
Oh yeah, no, it makes it way more dramatic.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
So what'd you give the match, Luke?
Yeah, 4.5. Brilliant.
Yep.
Amazing.
Great way to start a super hot opening match. After that, we do get a interview backstage with Owen,
who has some spit.
I was trying to pay attention to what he said, but he had this like
a loogie
drool spit on the side of his mouth, and it was uber distracting.
It was disgusting.
I'm sorry. How does the cameraman / Todd Pettengill not tell him, hey, just take that off
before
right
they start?
Yeah,
it was a bang bang. Like, he was right after the match. The one thing I did notice was that he stole Brett's tagline: "The best there is, the best there was," and now I'm the best there ever will be.
Yeah, and really Owen basically the promo was telling the world that he's better than his brother. That's what it was.
Which was really the whole premise of the match, which is amazing that they made such a story out of it.
Yeah, no, it was great. After that, we got back to the ring, and some guy is introduced from the Hair Club for Men.
Cy Sperling.
And he introduces a full head of hair, Howard Finkel.
Dude, he looked snazzy.
He looks snazzy. And of course, Finkel is going to introduce the next match, which is Bam Bam Bigelow and Luna versus Dink and Doink the Clowns.
And I need to point out, this is not the Maniac Matt Bourne Doink the Clown. This is not the original Doink the Clown. This is Ray Apollo playing Doink the Clown, I believe is what me and Luke looked up. Matt Bourne is actually from Portland, Oregon. I actually met him wrestling at a local flea market.
Oh, wow.
And he was a badass. He was super nice, and rest in peace, Matt. He was great.
So I guess we'll get into the match. I'm going to be up front. I didn't think this was much of a match.
I loved it.
I actually enjoyed it.
I was sitting here just giddy. I thought it was
But that's because I got a little bit of gushing to do, but I'll let you go.
So we do have Bam Bam and Doink start the match. Bam does get a takedown on Doink and then hits a really nice drop kick. Good big man drop kick by Bam Bam. Wish he could have shown his stuff a little more in this match, but what we did see was great. I mean, it's Bam Bam freaking Bigelow. I'm not going to complain about seeing him wrestle.
He's great.
And then eventually Dink and Luna do come in. The whole thing here is that Dink is so small and quick that Luna can't quite get there.
Before you get that, Dink got tagged in and he wanted to fight Bam Bam.
That's right. Yeah, he was trying to
He
fight
was like
Bam Bam.
squaring up with Bam Bam, and Bam Bam's just looking at him, shaking his head like,
yeah.
No.
So then Luna does come in, and again, Dink's moving around. He's avoiding her. At one point, Dink does get caught up in the ropes, and Luna is just choking him, and then does this move where she bounces off the other rope, and it was like a reverse like Bronco Buster on the middle rope, kind of.
It was.
Just like ass right on the back of Dink. Poor Dink's little head.
Poor Dink.
And then they get back in, and then Dink gets scoop slammed by Luna. Luna misses the top rope dive, and then Bam and Doink are back in. Doink gets sent out of the ring. Dink distracts Bam Bam and causes him to flop on the ground, and then causes Luna to flop on the ground. So they're both flopped.
That one was weird.
I want to point out a spot that you missed that I thought was super funny.
Please.
When Dink and Luna were in the ring, he was like running around, and she dove to like catch him and like fell over, and he ran up behind her and smacked her on the ass, and then ran away again. And it was so funny.
It was basically like a rodeo sideshow.
It was like Tom and Jerry.
It was like a carnival act.
It was very Tom and Jerry.
So then Doink gets back in and is able to try and capitalize on the Dink distraction, but he just eats a big old butt bomb when he tries to do a sunset flip to Bam, and Bam just sits on him, sits on big man, sits on you, and it doesn't feel good. And then Doink does hit a pretty nice looking DDT onto Bam, where he like elevates way up in the air and then slam back down onto him. And then Bam takes out Dink on accident, like he's going into the ropes, and he kind of elbows him, and Dink falls down and presumably is dead.
Rip.
Yes, and then right before that, I think Doink missed a top rope leg drop, which is when he was in the position there, and then it was a scoop slam for a near fall onto Doink, and then Bam Bam hits a flying headbutt for the win.
The greetings from Asbury Park, his finisher.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I didn't think this was much of a match. I didn't really care for it. Comedy wrestling's fine, I guess, but
what'd you give it?
1.75. I wasn't really going to give it anything more than that. I didn't hate it. It just wasn't much of a match.
I gave it a 2.25. I thought it was fun. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was a good come down from the first match and got the crowd like having a little bit of fun. Matt Bourne was a much better Doink, but this
You're
doink
so biased.
I am, but this doink was fun. I think anybody will tell you Matt Bourne was the better doink.
I mean,
and I think Brooklyn Brawler was the second best doink.
I think, I think also it's not like nobody in this match except for Dink really had a chance to showcase themselves that much.
I somewhat disagree with you.
Really?
Bam Bam had some sweet spots.
I thought Bam Bam looked great.
And since you guys have given your grades, now it's time for me to gush. Because all three of these guys, not including Dink, because...
So Luna's a guy?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No, gosh darn it.
Are you saying that Dink's not a guy because he's small?
Are you saying all three of these...
Okay, so this match had like its funny dwarf spots, midget spots, whatever. I did give it 2.5. But Bam Bam Bigelow is one of the greatest super heavyweights ever.
I agree.
Easily.
Probably the most underrated.
Oh,
I agree.
Definitely underrated.
Him and Vader were like, just for how their sheer size, how agile they were. I mean, Bam Bam's doing freaking cartwheels and backflips, dude. Like he was just so amazing, and I'm sad that we lost him when we did. And I think they could have done better with him in WWF. I also think Luna Vachon was criminally underused in WWF. From the wrestling royalty she came in, the niece of Mad Dog Vachon, and then the daughter of Butcher Vachon. I mean, you'll see later on there's an Alundra Blaze title match. They could have so easily put Luna Vachon against her, and it would have been great.
Much better than what we got.
Luke really liked her butt.
Luna's?
Yeah, Luna's.
Okay, fair enough.
Butt looked pretty good.
What did you give the match, Luke?
I actually gave it 2.5, just only because like I'm such a mark for Bam Bam and Luna and Doink as well. I hate that they flip-flopped him around so much, heel to face, but when he was a heel and like he had that creepy clown
with
thing
Matt
going
Bourne.
on,
yeah. Give me that Doink.
With the goat Matt Bourne. Yeah, heel Doink was actually very good, and it was super creepy.
I liked it when the second Doink came around. It was at the WrestleMania before this with Crush. Doink was fighting Crush, and the other Doink came into the ring.
Yeah, when they switched. Yeah.
Yep, that was good stuff.
Which they actually did make reference to when Doink got sent out of the ring, and Lawler was saying, "There's probably another Doink under that ring."
Yeah, that's right. He did say that. Mm-hmm. Also, we got to point out, Bam Bam, not just a great wrestler, but a great person. He went into a burning building to save children one time.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's definitely true. He missed a little bit of his career because of it.
Wow, really?
Is that why he had the whole flames thing?
No, I think this was later on towards the WCW time.
Oh, okay.
But I just think it needs to be people to know that Bam Bam was a great person.
Wow.
Yeah.
So after that match, we got there was a kind of a sloppy beatdown post match. I don't really know what was happening with that.
Oh yeah, it was
Luna
weird.
like scoop slam Dink.
Yeah, and then like there was like a messy exchange between Doink and Bam Bam, and then everyone kind of just left. And then after that, we got the first appearance of fake Bill Clinton. There was a Bill Clinton
who
impersonator.
did look pretty realistic from 30 rows back, by the way.
From a distance, I was like, is that really Bill Clinton? Luke, is that really Bill Clinton? He's like, no, that's not Bill Clinton.
I think if it was really Bill Clinton, they wouldn't not have started playing Hail to the Chief before they showed him.
So Luke told me it wasn't, so I secretly got on my phone to double check to make sure he was right. And no, it wasn't Bill Clinton. Yeah, once you saw his teeth.
Bro, he wouldn't have just been right there in the middle of the crowd with like two people and IRS right behind him.
Yeah, IRS was just like sitting there mugging behind him. Yeah, that was weird. And
Daddy Wyatt.
We got more of that. Yeah, we got more of that later. And then after that, we got some clips from WrestleMania 3. What match were they hyping up? Either of you remember?
From WrestleMania 3?
Did anything happen on WrestleMania 3?
Well, Andre the Giant.
That's what it was.
Was Steamboat and Savage 3, or was that 2?
I think it was Hogan slamming
Andre.
That was kind of just a joke. That was kind of a joke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So now we get a Falls Count Anywhere match between Macho
sort
Man.
of.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Okay, so you can't really make a pinfall in the ring in this match.
It was almost it was weird. Yeah. So
it was a Falls Count anywhere but the ring.
And on top of that,
they had to get back within a minute.
Yeah. So once you got the pinfall outside, you had to get back to the ring in a minute, and your opponent had to get back to the ring within a minute. Otherwise, you won.
This was weird.
It was weird.
Definitely, I've never seen a false count.
Weird way to use Macho Man on the show.
And, well, this is one of Macho's going away matches. Like, I don't know how much is left of Macho after this, but it's not much.
It wasn't much.
Well, no, he was just broadcasting at this point.
Yeah, and he gets a pop from the crowd.
Oh, yes.
Once they hear that pomp with circumstance start, they go crazy. So it is him and Crush. Thank you. I don't think this was much of a match either.
I kind of like this.
I liked the finish a lot, which we'll kind of get into it.
Well, I didn't like the weird stipulations, but I like the match.
So we're gonna do it here. So as Crush is coming out to the ring, Randy Savage interrupts him, and the match starts. Savage immediately gets like military pressed and then dropped neck first onto the barricade, and he's dead.
It's over.
And so you think the match is over there. Crush gets the fall and then comes back into the ring, and of course Macho Man makes it with about 2 seconds to spare. And Macho is put in a tree of woe, and then while the ref is trying to help him out, Fuji, who I guess we should say accompanies Crush to the ring, puts the salt, the classic heel salt, in the hands of Crush. Randy Savage is too smart for that, though, and he kind of does like a little elbow bump thing.
I thought that was a cool spot. Yeah, I thought that was a fun, like, the bad guy tries to cheat, but the good guy foils it.
Yep, and so Crush gets the salt, and he doesn't care for that. And then some strikes take out Crush, and then a scoop slam, and then an elbow drop, and then Randy Savage kicks Crush out of the ring. Crush barely makes it back in to beat the count of 60. Fuji helped him a little bit. He splashed some water in his face to wake him up.
After Savage hit the elbow drop, he kicked him out of the ring and then rolled out of the ring to pin him. That's what we were confused about.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Me and Luke were like, "What the fuck is he doing?" And then we're like, "Oh wait, he only can pin him outside the ring."
And then so Fuji does come in and help. He pours some cold water on him and kind of throws him back into the ring, so he beats the count, which is a good way to keep the elbow drop as a strong finishing move because he wasn't able to beat it on his own.
That's good analysis.
Within the 60 seconds. So Macho Man gets sent back outside. Crush follows him, sends him over the barricade. And they start wrestling into backstage. They're in like this weird like receiving area, like backstage past like some double doors.
This is as hardcore as 1994 WWF gets.
So Macho reverses a pile driver attempt into whatever you'd call that move when he sends someone over your. I'm drawing
back body drop.
Yeah, thank you. I was drawing a blank on that.
Got you.
Thank you. And Savage gets the pin. And no, he doesn't. He almost gets the pin. Yes, he does get the pin. And then he ties up.
Like he leaves for a second,
and then he's like, "No, I'm smarter than this." And he comes back, and he like, there's like this pulley system, and he ties Crush by the leg, and then just leaves him hanging there. And he comes back into the ring.
Well, he tries to leave him hanging there, but he has him up, and then as he's walking away, he falls down. He falls down,
but he's still tied up. Though.
Yeah,
which you can also see this whole time. And I was just like, who was? If Bruce Pritchard was there, he's just freaking out because there's a whole bunch of people. You can slowly see the curtains behind in the background, just like open up. People are like taking pictures and stuff, and slowly there's more and more people taking pictures.
So he does time up, and of course Savage gets back into the ring. As Savage himself barely beats the count.
Yeah.
And of course Crush cannot escape, and Fuji gets beaten up by Savage to ensure that he cannot help him escape, and Randy Savage gets the win. At least Savage was on the show, but this wasn't much of a match for me. The stipulation was confusing. I give it 2 stars.
I gave it 2.5. I enjoyed it. As Randy Savage's kind of swan song from WWE. It was good to see Randy. It was good to see the pop. It was good to see him go out with a win.
I actually gave it 3. I'm actually super. I'm super high
over here.
See, I've been waiting for us to do like some mid '90s stuff because I've watched a ton of this and I loved it. Anyway, I really love Randy Savage, and again, Jerry Lawler quote of the match. It's a dog-eat-dog business, Vince, and Savage is wearing milk-bone underwear.
I popped for that.
Yeah,
I said to myself, like, I hope Luke's writing that one down because that one was pretty good. Yeah. After that, we get another fake Bill interview. This time, IRS gets involved and says, "Bill, you're doing a great job.
Raise your taxes,
especially since you raised the taxes." Yeah, that was great.
That happened, and then we get a video package from FanFest. And
FanFest looks fun.
FanFest looked awesome.
Yes. I want to go to FanFest.
It looked great.
Can we do this again, Vince?
Yeah, bring FanFest back. Access is good, but bring back
FanFest.
FanFest.
WWF Arcade.
There's like a WWF Arcade.
Sumo wrestling.
There's sumo wrestling, and then there's a giant coffin that you can get your picture taken with Paul Bearer.
Well, then you can call your own match. They give you headsets and you watch a match and you can call it with a
wrestle
friend.
your own match.
Yep.
And then Hillbilly Jim was signing autographs. Legend, Hall of Famer.
Yeah. It looked awesome.
That looked so much fun.
And then we cut to Randy Savage, who's celebrating in the crowd, which was awesome. The crowd was super hyped up for that.
They loved them some Macho.
It was awesome. And then we cut to a video package hyping up WrestleMania 4. You see how we're going in order here. Next up, WrestleMania. We didn't actually get the lyrics though. The song has lyrics.
Does it?
It does.
I don't know if I've ever heard the lyrics.
Oh, you gotta look it up. It just says WrestleMania and something something. It says WrestleMania a lot.
Nice.
Yeah. After that, we get Leilani Kai versus Alundra Blaze.
Medusa.
It's Alundra Blaze at this point.
Sorry.
Don't test me, Luke. For the Women's Championship, who, of course, Alundra Blaze is the title holder.
Can I be honest?
Yeah, please.
I had never heard of Leilani Kai before.
Neither had
this.
I.
I did.
Luke was sitting here like, oh, she's the greatest. And I'm like...
That's not what I said.
I was like, I have no idea who
I
this
thought
is.
this was going to be a squash match.
No, I was like, no,
she didn't
me
even get an
too.
entrance.
No, I was like, no, she's good, man. I promise.
Then she actually was pretty good.
Yeah.
So Kai, I'm going to call her Kai, Leilani Kai, gets the early advantage. Blaze gets a roll up for a near fall, though, and then Kai hits this really cool kind of two-handed bear hug choke slam thing to Blaze and then a scoop slam, and doesn't go for the pinfall, and it allows Blaze to recover, who hits a nice Hurricane Rana for a near fall. Kai sends Blaze to the outside and gets her back in, and then just beals her by the hair. I mean, this was like Nia Jax before Nia Jax.
Oh yeah, no, she was the beast. Yeah.
And then Blaze was managed to get a spin kick. Oh, there was also a nice. It was like a power bomb variation, but she had her arm an underhook.
Oh, double underhook suplex.
Yep. For some reason, my moves are escaping my mind tonight.
Only Vince can, like, all Vince can say is, "What a maneuver!"
It was a maneuver, and then Blaze hit a spin kick for a near fall, and then gets an amazing bridging German suplex.
Yes.
For the win. It was. I would have liked to have seen this match be a little bit longer. It was pretty short, but the action we did get was pretty okay. I give it 2.5.
I also gave it 2.5. It was nothing special. It was short. It was sweet. I thought Kai had some pretty cool moves that she busted out in it, and then I thought Alundra Blaze looked pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for Luke's quote from Jerry Lawler during this match.
What's the Lawler?
This one was bad.
This one was really bad.
It was fucking mean.
It was just mean spirited.
Do you not remember this one, Luke?
Hold on.
Luke, can I say it?
Just
I
talking about it.
Go ahead, buddy.
It was, she has a $10 million body and a 10-cent face in reference to Alundra Blaze.
I don't know why he she.
That was just mean.
It's super
She's not an
weird.
ugly woman.
Yeah,
no, not at all.
He was being an asshole.
No, this is back in because I mean, just a couple years. Well, I'd say like 3 years later, you're gonna get the Jerry Lawler that's super perverted and just all about puppies and like all that.
It was nice to not have him be in that mode.
Yeah, all Jerry Lawler is here is just a heel shit talking color commentator, and no one was safe.
And he was so funny.
He was. Might have went a little too far with the Alundra Blaze joke. But he was funny.
Oh no!
For the majority of the show.
I thought you were referencing because there's one that he says later that's really funny that we'll get to about Alundra Blaze. I did give it 2.5 stars for how minimal women's wrestling was treated at this point in time.
We have seen such worse from the women's divisions we've been doing this show. So this was a breath of fresh air.
It was pretty good.
Well, and this is this is really the only. I know what you said, it was short. This is pretty much the only allotted time they were going to get.
No,
at this point.
I understand.
So, but Alundra Blaze looked great. But once again, think about how good this would have been if Luna Vachon was going head to head with Alundra.
What do you give it, Luke?
2.5.
Awesome. After that, we get, what else? WrestleMania 5 clips. And then we get a tag team match. It's going to be Men on a Mission versus the Quebecers. Men on a Mission, of course, is the wrestlers in the match are going to be Mabel and Mo.
With Oscar.
A.K.A. Viscera, a.k.a. Big Daddy V.
Yes.
Which, me and Luke were talking about this, and it's like, man, I thought Big Daddy V Viscera was big when he was Big
fat.
Daddy V.
Yeah.
But wow.
He was massive.
Mabel is gigantic.
Mabel was the third man.
People forget.
Yep. So for some reason, after Men on a Mission come out, we cut to this like weird backstage segment when Shawn Michaels and what's her name, Rhonda Shear, who is a television host, are flirting, and then Burt Reynolds shows up.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, I'm gonna date you, baby, and that makes HBK jealous. And then it cut back, and the Quebecers, who are the champions, by the way, had already made their entrance.
And guess who's with the Quebecers?
Who?
Johnny Polo,
AKA
the greatest ECW wrestler ever, Raven.
It was so funny seeing Raven as Johnny Polo because I forgot that's what he
So everybody knows Raven, with the grungy clothes, and then you're looking at him here and you're like, wow, you're dressed nice.
He looks like a polo player.
And wasn't he like Scotty Flamingo too?
He was Scotty Flamingo, and I think that was an announcer.
Yes,
a little bit. But it's weird seeing him not as
colorful.
Raven.
Yeah.
And
not grunge.
So
not with ripped jeans.
Yeah, he's wearing like a nice green suit.
Not doing this. What about me?
Yeah.
What about Raven?
He's doing the Johnny Polo here. And of course,
we need to get some Raven matches up in this podcast.
I know. We have not.
Barely legal.
We'll have to do that soon.
We'll have to add that one. Into the
so
thing.
the Quebecers, of course, are Pierre and Jacques, and they are accompanied, like we said, by Johnny Polo. I'm going to say right off the bat, I had a real hard time telling Jacques and Pierre apart.
Oh, yeah, me too. I told Luke, I was like, I hope Zach's got good notes on this because I'm having a hard time.
I did my best. So we'll get into the match here.
Jacques is the Mountie.
They're both, I know that, but they're both dressed like Mounties.
No, I gotcha. And Jacques also is the one in New Blood Rising that had the
Canadian rules.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
What a legend.
Mm-hmm.
So Mo and Pierre start the match, and they exchange some strikes, and then Mabel gets in, hits a big leg drop to Mo, and then hits a big leg drop to Pierre, sorry, and then Mo tags Mo back in. There were lots of tags in this match, especially by the Quebecers. Lots of good, solid tag team work and double teams and things like that. It was a very standard tag team match, I guess, is another way to say it. So Mo gets choked out in the corner, and then Jacques comes in, they double team splash for a near fall to Mo. And by double team splash, I don't mean they both splash him. I mean, Pierre kind of throws Jacques onto...
Yeah, that was just like their offense.
Yeah, they
just
did a lot of that.
Throwing each other onto the opponent.
And then they did the same thing, but actually they threw Jacques or Pierre, one of the two, gets thrown out of the ring on top of Mabel, I think at that point, and takes him out for a little bit. And then Jacques is in, and then they double team Mo. Mo took the heat for a lot of this match for a near fall. Tries to get the hot tag at one point, can't quite do it, and then Pierre misses a leg drop, and so both men are down. This does lead to a hot tag to Mabel, who takes both of the Quebecers down, and then goes for a corner splash, but he misses it. And then the Quebecers try once for a double suplex. They can't get it, but they get him on the second try. The big man gets suplexed. Pierre gets up to the top, and they do like this really neat double team senton.
Yeah, where he was like on top. And
yeah, it was like very acrobatic. So they Jacques threw Pierre over his head, and then he hits the senton on a downed Mabel. That was really unique.
Then they kind of did it again outside the ring. Like they.
Yeah. That was from him outside of the ring too.
Yeah, so they did it again. That was cool.
That was really, I agree, that was really neat. And
neato.
That got a near fall, the one outside of the ring once they got Mo back in. And then Pierre and Mo trade strikes until Pierre finally goes down. Mabel, and then Mabel hits a spin kick. The big man got airborne here.
You know what? He, for his size,
he's gigantic.
He's huge, and he has some speed on him
at this point.
Yeah, yes, he slows down when he's Viscera.
He's no Bam Bam, but he's
not up to the Bam Bam level, but he's moving pretty quick, and he's getting up a little bit.
Yep. And so this point, Pierre's down and Jacques taken out, and it looks like it's all over at this point. But Polo distracts the ref, which allows Mo to not get the pinfall. Outside, Mabel splashes Pierre, and then Johnny pulls Jacques out of the ring once Mo's about to go for the pinfall, which gets the disqualification. I was a bit surprised that was a DQ spot.
So I also want to throw in another spot that I kind of liked.
Yeah, please.
Was it a DQ or was it a count out? I thought it was a count out.
I thought it was a DQ.
It was a DQ because the second Polo pulled him out, the ref called the match off.
There was a fun spot where Polo was trying to distract the ref, and Oscar was running and trying to pull Polo off the side of the apron, and they're like kind of all tussling, the ref and the two managers, and I'm just like, this is better than what's going on in the ring right now. This is funny.
Yeah. And then after the match, Men on a Mission kind of celebrate with the titles like they won the titles. And then the Quebecers don't like that. Overall, this was a very, very standard tag team match, and I did not care for the finish. It would have been a 2.5. The finish knocks it down to a 2 for me. Wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but was just kind of there.
I have it as 2. And then after we watched this match, I was like, I wonder if the Men on the Mission ever won the belts.
Did they?
They did, but they won it on a house show on accident.
Oh, I've heard about that.
So Viscera or Mabel, however you want to call him, was like pinning a guy, like fell on top of the guy to pin him, and the guy couldn't get out from the pin. So they won it, and then they ended up losing it like 2 nights later at another house show.
Yeah, I remember hearing. I didn't realize that was Men on a Mission that happened.
Yeah, I thought that was super funny. But yeah, 2 stars. I thought
awesome.
I thought everybody was pretty average in the match. To me, the only standout was Mabel. He looked good for being so big. I mean, agree. And I liked the Big Daddy V character and the evil Viscera that kind of came on. The World's Largest Love Machine was kind of fun too.
Kind of stole Mark Henry's steez.
A little bit.
Remember,
Luke, what did you think? Oh, sorry, Kyle.
Remember he was like dating Lillian Garcia in the storyline?
I don't.
It was awesome. And he was wearing the silk pajamas.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And I think he had a little feud with Shelton Benjamin, and Shelton Benjamin hit him with that the T-bone suplex.
I don't remember that one.
Oh,
But
guys,
that sounds legit.
We're gonna have to find one of
That's
these.
awesome.
I think it might be on one of those New Year's resolutions. Revolution
the
pay-per-views.
05 through 07 that they
That we were looking at. They might be on it. We'll look again when we're cleaning up, but might be on there for one of the New Year's shows.
So I gave this 2 stars. I think it's hilarious that Men on the Mission's finisher is literally just Mo getting on the top rope and pushing Viscera over onto the opponent.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
That is their finisher, dude. And also, I can't take Men on the Mission that serious. Like, it felt like 3 count almost. Like when they're coming out,
like it's early '90s cheese. Like,
yeah, straight up. Also, I need to start interrupting you for these Lawler quotes.
Yes, please do.
But 2 of them that were just fantastic, and of course they were both weight related for Men on a Mission. Here comes the second Alundra Blaze shot. McMahon, I know I can. He's talking about Men on a Mission. I know how I could help them lose weight. Oh, what's that? Introduce them to Alundra Blaze. One look at her face and you lose your appetite.
I missed that one.
Jesus. And after the Alundra Blaze match, Lawler is still going hard.
Yeah, dude.
He is being an asshole.
Blaze.
And then here comes a Mabel fat joke. He is huge. Back when he was a baby, I heard he got baptized at SeaWorld.
That's pretty good. I did hear that one.
Oh man, these Jerry Lawler quotes.
2 stars, but 5 stars to Jerry freaking Lawler.
He was off the
dude.
chain in this.
We need to tweet at Jerry Lawler and
Yeah.
ask him to just say some shitty comments about all of us.
Yes, that'd be awesome. Send him pictures of us.
Yeah.
Where does he come up? I mean, Vince is right next to him, so there's no way he's in his ear. Where does he come up with this?
I think the dude, it just comes out like naturally to him.
I think a lot of it does.
You know, I'm wondering if like as he got older, they tried to turn him more of like the perverted
old man
guy, because he still had some of these zingers sometimes though, like as he got older. But here he was on top of his game,
on fire.
He was so funny.
He was throughout the show. He was the high spot. No pun intended. Oh boy! So after that, we get clips from WrestleMania 6, and I'm not gonna mention those anymore because you get them after every match, and you can just do the math that it goes 6, 7, 8, 9. You get the same song, and it hypes up the main event from each show. And then here come Donnie Wahlberg and Rhonda Shear. Rhonda Shear is going to be operating the bell for this match, and Donnie Wahlberg is going to be announcing it.
And just before the match starts, Lex Luger will never be Hulk Hogan.
Bosom shots.
Yes, Rhonda Shear gets some bosom action going on.
Oh, okay. Jerry Lawler quote. God, he's so good in this. Okay. He's referring to Rhonda Shear. I was talking to Rhonda earlier, blew in her ear, and she said, "Thanks for the refill."
That cracked me up. I feel like you can tell which one of the 3 of us is a broadcaster because Luke's paying attention to the Jerry Lawler quotes this whole time.
Oh, dude, when he's money like this, how can you not?
So yeah, for some reason Donnie Wahlberg's out there. They gotta get those celebrities in there somehow. And he introduces, first off, the special guest referee, which is going to be Mr. Perfect, making his return to the WWF.
Who looks great, by the way.
Amazing. He's wearing a white and black striped, zebra striped jumpsuit.
Just a full referee jumpsuit.
He's got the referee shirt, like the white and black stripes, but then he's also got the pants, and he's wearing his wrestling boots with the pants tucked into the boots. It was awesome. I loved the way he was dressed.
Prison jumpsuit.
It was awesome. Unfortunately, the match was not so awesome.
No.
So it is going to be Yokozuna, who is accompanied by Fuji and Jim Cornette, versus Lex Luger.
He's not Japanese, by the way. Yokozuna.
Yes, he's Samoan. It's very, very well known. Thank you, Luke, for pointing that out.
I'm pissed.
It's cultural appropriation.
It's BS.
Yokozuna is a big boy, really big at this point.
700 pounds.
And Lex is Lex. And
Yes.
And I do have to say, Lex is really over somehow.
Oh, and he's just jacked.
Oh, he looks great. Too bad he can't
has
work
a great
like
look. But he's a charisma vacuum, and he was not a very good wrestler.
Well, he's super over probably because that was back when you could shove it down the fans' throats and get away with it.
Yeah. And again, it's easy to have when you're wrestling a foreign heel, you have that USA gimmick just built into Lex's character, who has the red, white, and blue tights and
just the. I'm wondering, didn't Lex slam Yokozuna on like a marine?
Yeah, on a battle or a aircraft carrier.
Yeah, okay.
And so that was obviously at this point Hogan, it's worth noting, Hogan's gone at this point. He's WCW bound. I don't know, had he debuted at this point or was he just in transition?
Was it 96 when he debuted?
No, he was in WCW by then because before
he was he was in WCW before the Outsiders.
Yeah, and he had a brief run as Red and Yellow Hogan. So it could have been
So Hogan was gone essentially at this point, and
Luger
he might
was
have been in Japan at this point.
I'm not sure, but they were trying to fill Hogan's shoes with Lex Luger.
And it's obvious
he was the heir apparent.
They make a point during the match to say, Luger's the only man to have body slammed Yokozuna, which is an obvious reference to Hogan being Andre. The first man to scoop slam Andre.
And the thing to me is Hogan was no Bret Hart in the ring, No. He was a charismatic guy that got away with his charisma. But Lex Luger is
a charisma vacuum.
He can't even lace up Hogan's.
They literally had to make his attire an American flag
to get him over and give him his own bus,
because that's his gimmick. Yeah, the Lex Express.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This match sucks.
It's bad.
This match is really bad. This is probably the worst men's match we've reviewed on the show.
I was
close to it at least.
I'm not sure how accurate that is because I can't think back, but Matt Stryker and Balls Mahoney was pretty bad, and so was Daivari and Tommy Dreamer. But at one point, I was sitting here and I was like, "Fuck, I'm just gonna check my fantasy football scores," because I was bored.
So I guess I'll get into the action a little bit. There was not much action in this match. I'm going to say that right out front. So early on in the match, Lex tries for the slam, can't do it. A lot of kicks, a lot of strikes. Yoko's dominating a lot of the match. Lex is getting some offense in as well, and then about halfway through the match, at one point, he does send Yoko out of the ring, which is pretty nice. Big man does get himself out of the ring. I did give him credit for that. And then eventually the rest holds start. And I'm not lying to you when I say the entire second half of this match was a rest hold. And it didn't even look good. He literally just had his hand dug into the nerve on his neck.
Yeah, just his shoulders.
And they just laid there motionless in the ring for what felt like ages.
But oh wait, Zach. We now interrupt this program to bring you a Jerry Lawler quote.
Thank you. Save the segment because this match, there's nothing to talk about.
Well, referring to that big old set of sumo pants on Yokozuna, somewhere out there's a Toyota with no seat covers. That's how big those tights are.
That was the one thing of note in this match. I guess it is worth noting he eventually does get the slam onto Yokozuna, which gets a USA chant. The crowd did like that, and then he Lariat takes out Yoko out, finally down on his feet, and then Fuji and Cornette get taken out, which gets Mr. Perfect distracted.
Well,
so he can't count three.
Luger pulls him into the ring.
Yeah, so they're in the ring, and then Mr. Perfect's trying to get them out of the ring while Lex is going for the pinfall off of the Scoop Slam Lariat combo that he did, and that makes Mr. Perfect upset, who kind of gets into Mr. Perfect's face and kind of pokes him, and Mr. Perfect gets mad enough that he calls for the disqualification finish and puts us all out of our misery. So Yokozuna technically wins, keeps the title. This is a 0.75 for me. I don't know why I gave it that much.
I gave it a 1 just because I like the ending, the Kurt Hennig screw job.
Oh yeah,
and Kurt Hennig's great. So it must have set up a little bit of a Kurt Hennig.
I'm guessing Lex Luger
feud with Lex Luger, but Kurt Hennig was not there much longer.
No,
because he was
back to WCW.
He was WCW bound too, as was Lex.
I also gave it 1 star. Wasn't this when his finisher was just a running clothesline? Was just a running lariat, Lex Luger? Because he didn't do the torture act really till WCW, right?
Right. Mm-hmm, so it must have been.
He had a steel plate in his arm. Wasn't that the idea?
Yeah.
Does anyone remember?
I don't remember.
It was trash.
If you remember, write us.
I've heard that he's a very, very nice guy now, which is good for him. But buddy, you were a great bodybuilder. Not a good wrestler.
I hated this match. Let's move on.
It was bad.
I did enjoy the post-match interview in the back.
So I was going to get to that. So Kurt Hennig is being interviewed backstage, and then Lex comes up, obviously frustrated and furious, does seem impassioned and does seem believable here, which is a very good promo, which is good for Lex. And they argue back and forth about why'd you do that? That was mean.
And then they had to be pulled apart because Mr. Perfect was just.
They started getting in each other's face.
Yeah, they started screaming. It was awesome.
Don't call that a very good promo. It was just 2 guys yelling at each other.
For Lex, though.
Yeah, and it did the job to set up this feud between the two, so I thought it was a very good setup, Luke.
Yep.
Sorry, Dad.
So after that, Harvey Whippleman is out, and he just gives Howard Finkel a tongue lashing.
He's just giving him the business.
Just says he has a monkey face. Yeah, Luke.
Can I? So I want to brag on my mom right quick here. They took my brother to a house show when he was super little, and Harvey Whippleman, they got front row seats. and Harvey Whippleman was in the front, and she wanted to impress my dad because they were dating at the time, and she yelled out, "Hey Harvey, is your shirt wet? Cause that tie sure is a pisser." Because he always wore terrible ties, and he looked at her and he was like, "All right, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right."
So yeah, Whippleman's out, and he's just giving Howard Finkel the business.
Howard Finkel with hair.
Yeah, Howard Finkel with hair. Says he has a monkey face. Just runs him up and down. Says he looks stupid in his suit. He looks like a dork. Finkel gets mad, shoves him over.
He does shove him
right onto his butt, and then here comes Atom Bomb, who comes out. Do you think he's gonna take out Finkel? And then here comes Earthquake, hits power slam on Atom Bomb, and then a bell rings, and then he hits the big one for the win. I'm giving it a dud because it was nothing.
My rating was, what do you give that?
Yeah,
that's literally what we asked each other.
It was entertaining for the most part, I guess.
Yeah, it was fine.
I gave it a half star because if it would have went longer, it would have been even more trash.
You know, so, I want to stop here and just like, how many guys on the show have passed away?
A lot of them. I'd say over half of them.
I mean,
easily.
Off the top of my head.
Mr. Fuji is gone. Luke, we talked about that. We couldn't figure it out or not, but he's dead.
Yokozuna's
dead.
Yeah.
Owen
Mr.
Hart,
Perfect.
Mr. Perfect. Macho Man.
Roddy Piper.
I mean, the list goes on.
Crush, I think, is dead.
Yeah, I think Crush. I don't know about Crush.
I think part of it is a lot of those guys were getting
Viscera?
old, but
Viscera's gone,
dead. Yeah. I think part of it is just that it was a different time in the sport when people were a lot harder on their bodies.
Oh, for sure.
Than they are now.
It's really
and it's
sad,
got the combination of age.
Luna.
Yeah, it's sad.
Damn.
The realization kind of hit me around here too, Kyle. That it was like, man, a lot of these people are no longer with us, and some of them taken way before their time, which is unfortunate.
I think as we go through this, is there anybody that's still active other than Sean coming back?
Oh, thank you, Lord.
Let me try and think. I don't think so.
No way.
Which I wouldn't expect too many wrestlers to still be active from 1994.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm looking at it and like Shawn Michaels might be the only one that even has a
I think you might be right. I think you might be right. I think Alundra could still go if she had to.
If you want to count Doink.
I don't know what Ray Apollo's
There's some variation of Doink out there, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. So after that little segment match, I guess technically it was a match, backstage in this really, you could tell this was a makeshift locker room. There was like plywood walls and like dinky plastic lockers in the back.
I didn't notice that.
Jim Cornette is interviewed with Yokozuna, and then Fuji shows up, and Cornette is amazing here. He is going crazy. It was awesome. And then the one note I do have about this segment, besides how great Cornette was this weird close-up on Yokozuna, where it just like it just kept going closer and closer and closer till you were like in the guy's face.
And then he screamed "Bonsai."
And then he screamed, but then they zoomed out and he screamed "Bonsai," and it was like, that was weird.
Good for you, man.
Yes,
you yelled.
And then I'm not gonna say it, but yeah, I'm gonna say it. WrestleMania 8 clip, and then we get one of the most influential matches of all time.
Oh, this match is fantastic.
Yes.
And this match is like
the
OG
ladder match,
and it's so good.
And of course, we are talking about Razor Ramon versus HBK in a ladder match.
The bad guy.
To settle who is the undisputed Intercontinental Champion. Of course, because Shawn was kind of going through turmoil at the time, left the company for a short spell with his belt, which Razor was crowned as the new champion, and of course Shawn came back with his belt saying he was the real champion, which set up a feud between the two men, and this was the payoff. And yeah, right off the bat, if you haven't heard of this match or seen this match somehow, go do it, because this match, even by today's standards, is very good, but by 1994 standards, was something somebody had never, people had never seen anything like this before.
It blew my mind.
Yeah.
So, and everyone looked fantastic in this. Just in the entrances, like Sean's coming out all swaggy. He's got like the shades that have like the crosshairs on them.
Oh,
and the
I love that.
All the peace sign jewelry, and Diesel is accompanying him, and he looks like the Terminator. And
they all look good.
And then you've got, especially looking at Scott Hall now, and then looking at Razor.
He was in such good shape.
Oh my god!
I will say there was a picture posted by Hulk Hogan today.
All three men are looking good.
Well, I mean, Hall looks about as good as he's gonna look. But Nash and Hogan look like they had another run in them.
Nash looked like he's getting ready to come back.
Yeah, and Hogan looked good too. I was sitting there, I'm like,
sure.
Luke, do you think these guys have like one more match?
Well,
I don't think Hogan does, but I could see Nash.
You never know when Nash is going to pop back up on TV.
You know, me and Luke were talking about it, and we think Hogan's going to do like a tag team match to send him off in the WWE instead of like, because his last match was in TNA against Sting, so we were like, you know, how do you go off if you're Hogan and you want to go out at home, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and Razor Ramon, I love Razor Ramon has one of my all-time favorite theme songs ever because it's just so like late 80s, early 90s, and it just fits the character of like it's what a theme song should be. It fits the character so well.
Luke, what song was it?
Those Shoes by the Eagles. It is the exact beat. There is your music trivia. Look it up.
Maybe a little beat hijacking going on, but
yeah, no, it is literally the
topic for another day.
The exact beat.
Did you say beat jacking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice,
Thank
dude.
you. Beat hijacking.
Okay.
Yeah, this match is really good.
That's redundant to say beat
I'm going to go
jacking,
through as much as I can, but there's a lot of spots in this match to go through. So the two men start a long stare down to start the match, and then right off the beginning, Razor hits a little choke slam. Like, I don't know, it was like a choke slam it was as much of a choke slam out of nowhere as you can get.
Yeah.
It was really nice, and then they do get back up. HBK hits a nice swinging neck breaker. Razor gets sent outside, and then Diesel takes him out. Earl Hebner sees, does not like it. Diesel, you're out of here.
Get your ass out of here.
Diesel gets ejected, and bye-bye Diesel and your sweet-ass mullet. Diesel's rocking a good mullet. Dude, yeah. And Sean, too, in his own respect.
I just love that he like never takes off the Terminator glasses.
Oh, they're staying on. Oh, and I guess it's worth noting, Diesel does accompany Sean to the ring. I forgot to mention that. But
the bodyguard.
He's there for a while, and then he leaves. So Razor gets back in, and lariats HBK to the outside, and then Ramon comes out of the ring as well, peels back the padding to reveal the bare concrete, shades of Cactus Jack, and so now we have some exposed concrete, which will be a payoff very soon.
The Cactus Jack comparisons end there, though.
Definitely. So Sean, both men get back inside the ring. HBK eats a big right hand, and then Razor teases a Razor's Edge, but HBK reverses it into a back body drop right outside of the ring, hard onto the exposed concrete. That bump was nasty. You don't see that very often, and even in today's wrestling, you don't see guys taking exposed concrete bumps like that.
No, dude.
Because now they know how bad it is for your body. But man, that was nasty, and Ramon sold that for a long time. And then HBK gets out of the ring, gets the ladder. He's gonna bring it into the ring, but then Ramon says, "Nope, that's not gonna happen." Knocks down HBK. He gets the ladder himself, goes to bring it in, and then HBK baseball slides into the ladder, into Ramon, takes him out. First ladder bump of the match. Feels good. There's plenty coming after that. And then the ladder does finally get inside. Razor gets set inside, and he hits him in the tummy with the ladder. And then once he's down, hits him again with the ladder, and then hits him in the back. And then Ramon's getting up. He's going to the ropes. And then one of my favorite spots in the match. It's a really simple spot, but HBK just throws the ladder under Razor. Just takes the ladder and just throws it at a man. Have you ever thrown a ladder at a man?
I'm about to.
God, I wish.
It seems fulfilling.
My uncle has a hardware store, Luke, if you want to go down there.
You realize that we've been missing out on like the greatest possible street fight ever? It would literally be like the Stone Cold and Booker T supermarket, but better. Like we just need to run our own segment
over at Greg's.
We just got to tell Uncle Greg. Yeah, hey, Uncle Greg, we'll clean it up.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and say if I said, "Hey, Uncle Greg, can we have a wrestling match in your hardware store?" He would say, "No."
Well, okay, so Greg, if you are listening and you want to let us have a hardcore street fight in the store, let us know.
Alternatively, you could buy a t-shirt.
That works too.
Yeah, for sure.
Something that my dad and I actually used to do, kind of related to that topic, is we used to go and we'd take baking sheets and frying pans and have street fights in grocery stores when I was like 10 years old. That's awesome. It was so much. My mom would always get so mad.
Frying pans?
We weren't bludgeoning each other in the head. It was a work, Luke.
Oh, okay.
Jeez.
Jesus, Luke.
Was that you that got to deck me with a cookie sheet?
Oh, at Shark's house? When we were moving him? Yeah.
We dented a few
No, that was
sheets
Jordan.
in the grocery store.
I videotaped it.
You hit me with one.
Oh, maybe. I don't remember.
I got walloped by somebody. I don't know. But those are fun ones. They don't hurt that bad.
I guess we should get back to the match now.
Yeah, do it.
So after that, HBK throws the ladder at Razor, and then he sets it up and he starts climbing. We get our first attempt at the title of the match. Ramon tries to stop him. And then kind of pulls his pants down, gets kicked off the ladder, and then eats an elbow drop to a bare-ass Shawn Michaels.
There's no kinda.
He definitely, yeah.
It was a full moon in Heartbreak City.
And the crowd just...
All the ladies in the crowd.
I mean, I popped.
It was
in more ways than one.
Whoa.
Okay, this is a family podcast, Luke.
Duh.
Is it, though?
What the hell ever.
Oh, continue.
So, yeah, that was a pretty fun spot. The crowd did eat it up a lot. And then, so now... The ladder gets back in position. Ramon shoves Wait, I skipped something. Oh, no, I didn't. HBK moves the ladder into the corner, and then he hits a huge splash off pretty much the top rung. We'll say the top rung. Hits
that
a big
iconic
splash.
splash.
And you've seen that spot 100 times if you're a wrestling fan. Splashes him off the top. And then Ramon is dead, and so he moves the ladder back into position. Ramon recovers just in time, shoves the ladder over, chokes HBK on the top rope as he falls. Both men are down. HBK gets up first, sets up the ladder in the corner. And then Razor sends him into it. So he kind of leans it up in the corner like he's going to send Razor into it. Razor gets the better of him, sends him into it first. And the HBK sells it like a champ and just flies outside of the ring.
And that's what I was going to say. Even then, I mean, he sold a lot more ridiculously once he came back with like the Born Again stuff. But even here, he's a selling machine.
He's a master of
They
it.
turned the ragdoll physics all the way up before the start of the match because he was ragdolling all over the place. Yeah, I loved that. And then Razor beats HBK with a ladder at ringside. HBK gets slingshotted onto the ladder. He's like set up on the, like leaned up against the ropes on the outside, and HBK gets slingshotted face first. Did you buy that slingshot spot, Luke?
That was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah, no, that was sexy.
It was awesome. And then Razor comes in the ring. He's all alone. He sets up the ladder, begins to climb. HBK climbs up to the top rope and then takes him out. The ladder falls right onto HBK.
And it looks like the ladder starts to break at this point.
Yeah, the ladder's like all bent up and twisted, and probably from them. And this was before they had like the worked ladders. This was like a hardware store ladder. Like it's not like the stickers and stuff on it.
Shout out Greg.
Yep.
Yeah, again, Greg, if you want to let us have a street fight, we're down. I'll be the cameraman. I don't want to get. I'm scared to wrestle you guys.
You don't want your 10-cent face to get hurt.
Exactly. It's
$10 million.
I don't want it to become a 5-cent face. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Then both men start climbing, and HBK suplexes. Gets suplexed off by Razor. Razor sets the ladder back up because it does fall over, and he climbs. HBK drop kicks the ladder, and it like makes Razor lose his balance, and he falls over. I kind of wonder if the ladder was supposed to fall.
At this point, this ladder's broken AF.
Yeah.
It's a wonder that
I think the ladder was supposed to fall at this point, but it does not. But it didn't hurt the spot at all. Razor did a great job. Sold it like a champ. And then you think that HBK is teasing the Razor's Edge, but instead he just pile drives Razor Ramon. It's so nice to see the pile driver utilized so many times on this show.
There's beautiful pile drivers too. They're spiking them.
I miss the pile driver.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie.
Me too.
Yes, when done correctly.
Yes. So HBK sets up the ladder after this, kind of on top of Razor, and he climbs up. He's certain Razor's not going to get up at this point, right? Mm-hmm. But alas, Razor does get up, knocks the ladder down, crotches HBK on the top rope, which causes his foot to get tangled up on the rope. He's trying to get out. Meanwhile, Razor's climbing.
Beautiful spot.
Yeah, Razor's climbing. His feet are tangled, and then he gets down. Now his arm's tangled. He can't get to Razor in time, who grabs both of the belts, falls off the ladder, and he is the undisputed Intercontinental Champion. This match was fantastic. And so rating this match was a bit of a I had to think about this for a moment because I don't want to well, hear me out. I don't want to grade on a curve, okay? I want to look at things in a 2018 light. I want to look at things in a modern day light. But I had to bump this up a little bit because this match is so influential on the style that we see in ring today. So I'm going to give it a 4.75 just because of how historic
You are a bastard.
and influential it was.
I gave it a 5 for being the first ever and how good that was. How influential it was and how many cool spots there were in 1994 when this shit was unheard of. 5 stars.
You ready?
Classic.
You ready? We're going to channel our inner Booker T, Kyle, since we apparently loved this and you hated it. 5 stars.
I give it
5 stars.
4.75.
5 stars. Okay, I'm just going to
I thought it was great. And I did grade it on a little
Now,
bit of a
can
curve.
you dig that?
But I think,
Sucker.
can both of you acknowledge that by today's standards, it's not a 5-star ladder match?
If it happened today,
Did it happen today?
maybe not,
No.
but at the time and how influential it was, including being the first one.
But I tell you what, if it still happened today, it would still
be a good
capture my
match. Oh, yeah.
attention
Oh, yeah.
for all 20 minutes.
And
This
it would
was-
still be an over a 4-star match
I
today.
agree.
But no, it's getting a 5.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're a snob.
I'm not a snob. I just like to look at things with today's
Even Meltzer
lens.
said it was a 5.
In 1994, it's
Meltzer would
2018.
still say it's a 5, especially if it was in
no,
Tokyo.
no, Meltzer-
especially if it was in the Tokyo
Meltzer
Dome.
would give this a 3.5 if he rated it today.
It's definitely a 5, and you should check it out.
Yeah, definitely check it
Yeah.
out because it's the match of the night, I think, in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah, super solid match. Just to see the innovation was super fun, and it's worth watching over and over again. Backstage, we get some argument between a bunch of dudes. IRS is there. Stevie Richards is there, I think.
That wasn't Stevie Richards, I don't think.
Who else was there?
Jeff Jarrett was there.
Double J.
And Rikishi before he was Rikishi.
Yes. So apparently there's supposed to be a 10-man tag team match that we are informed is not happening.
Because everyone's fighting.
Yeah, because everyone's fighting and they can't decide on anything. So now...
Thank God that didn't happen.
We're going to go right into the main event. But first... we get our last appearance of Fake Bill of the day, and this time he's talking with Ted DiBiase. Who? What does he ask him here?
Ted DiBiase.
He says everyone has a price. Is he trying to say he wants to be on his cabinet?
He's like, even everyone has a price for the $1 million man, and he's like, I don't want to. I can't even do a Bill right now. Just like
he said he doesn't want to take those questions.
I don't want to do politics right now. Yeah. No, he did a bad Bill impression, so
it wasn't Bill, not the best. And then after that, we do get a video package. Wow, it's not a good one, but we got a video package. Basically, this was just a bunch of clips of Bret Hart and then a bunch of clips of Yokozuna.
Yeah, one you could tell who the face and the heel were, because one was just like Bret Hart was just like stupidly, oddly cheerful music.
Yeah,
and then Yokozuna was like
something I loved was that there was supposed to be like old archival footage. But it featured Stu Hart training these kids, but like it was like 80-year-old Stu Hart.
Yeah, it's still old ass Stu Hart.
Yeah, but it was in black and white, so it makes everything okay.
Yeah.
That is one thing that modern day WWE does much better than 1994. WWE is their video packages, and it showed here. But it was supposed to get you hyped up for the match, and I suppose in '94 it probably did. We do get the guest celebrities one more time, which is Burt Reynolds and some girl from 90210. Jenny Garth come out, and Burt Reynolds introduces Roddy Piper as the guest referee, who gets probably the biggest pop of the night. People love Roddy, and you can just tell
his shirt was awesome too, by the way.
Yeah, he had a great shirt, No Fear, it said on the front, and then it had like the Tasmanian Devil on the back. He looked so good. You could tell Roddy Piper was just genuinely happy to be there. And it was really good to see. And unfortunately, we had to get a match. And that match was Bret Hart in his second appearance of the night versus Yokozuna.
Unfortunately, in his second appearance
of the night for the WWF Championship, which Yokozuna still holds. Bret, to his credit, is selling his knee from earlier. Gets jumped by Yokozuna right at the start of the match, and Yokozuna is in control for a long, long time. Bret does get a few strikes in, but then gets taken out by Yokozuna again, and they get into the corner. Yokozuna bites Bret. Piper doesn't like that very much. Chews out Yokozuna, no pun intended.
Nice.
Yokozuna keeps working the count on the ropes too, and Piper's enforcing it. Piper's being a good ref, no bias here. Bret gets up on the ropes, then misses a splash, and Bret gets some more strikes in, hits an axe handle, which knocks Yokozuna down, and then Piper gets pulled out of the ring by Cornette to break up the pinfall, and then just cold cocks Cornette and knocks him out. I want to see that on a loop, like when I go to bed at night. It was nice to see Cornette get knocked down and die.
Oh, and he sells those really well.
He sells those. So he was dead. He was laying there dead outside the ring. It was awesome. I guess technically, if we're going by the rules from earlier, that should have been a DQ too. If the other pull out of the ring was a DQ, but hey, I'm not gonna
clean finishes only.
Exactly. I'm not gonna squabble over that. This is a title match. You know, you gotta let him fight, which I believe Vince might have even said at this point was just let him fight. So I think Cornette was down for the rest of the match, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I thought
he was gone. Yeah,
he was out, and then Zuna gets back in control after that. Hits a leg drop, and his leg lands right on Bret Hart's face. Did you guys catch that? The leg drop?
Yeah,
it looked awful. It looked like legitimately like that can't feel good. That's like a 100-pound leg coming.
Man, this match was bad.
This match was bad.
It was trash.
It was just Yoko in control a lot,
which is a bad thing.
Yes, he does miss a corner splash, and then Bret hits a bulldog for a near fall, and then he hits a lariat, takes down Yokozuna again. Another near fall after that, and then Bret eats a belly to belly from Yokozuna, and then he drags back to the corner. He's going to try for the bonsai drop, but he falls over, and Bret pins him for the win.
He even takes one hand off of the top rope to celebrate.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was.
And then he falls over, and that's the end of the match.
And then the best part of the
little head.
The best part of the match was Yokozuna chasing Roddy Piper to the back.
So after the match, obviously Bret Hart is now the new WWF champion. The crowd is very excited. Apparently Yokozuna is upset about something because he chases Bret Hart away.
Chases Roddy Piper away.
Roddy Piper.
Who's hardly even speed walking. Like Yoko's like jogging after him, and Piper's just like do.
Overall, I'm gonna actually give the match a 1.5 just because we got to see Roddy Piper and because Bret won the title.
I gave it a 1.5 as well. I thought it was a good for Bret Hart to start a new era of wrestling, and Roddy Piper's the man.
Yep.
Agreed.
Star and a half for me. It's only better than the Luger one because Brett, Piper, and it had an actual finish.
Yes, definitely.
And you suck. And, rest in peace, Yoko. All due respect. But you suck if Bret Hart can't make you look good.
Yeah, that's what I actually said that to my wife, who was sitting next to me watching this at this point. I said, man, if Bret Hart can't get a good match out of you, you have no business being the top guy in the company.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion on the show?
So overall, this was and in a lot of ways, this was a 2-match show for me. But those 2 matches were very, very good. If those 2 matches hadn't been on the card, this is a D show for me. But those 2 bring it up to a C+. Which is what I give the show overall. I thought the first match and that ladder match saved the show for me.
So I have a B minus. It's definitely not in my top 5 WrestleManias. Maybe not even in my top 10. It was good, but
I will say it was better than a lot of the WrestleManias that had come before it at this point.
Yeah, for the most part, I think there's a couple before it that I'd probably put the WrestleMania 3.
Yeah,
over it.
Which is probably the first good WrestleMania, I'd say.
Right, and there's a lot of significance and some good matches. And then I'd almost put the Mega Powers Explode one over it.
Okay.
5.
Yeah.
5. And then 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
That was such a good run.
That was such a good run, and we're all excellent. So those all have to be ahead of it.
Yeah, I ranked 14 ahead of it too, just off the cuff, because that was the first one I ever watched on pay-per-view, so I'm a little biased. But
So B minus show for me. Those 2 matches that you talked about were fantastic, but then the Yokozuna matches were bad. Doink and Dink were fun, but I mean, nothing really the note.
There's a lot of forgettable things. Luke, what did you think?
I actually I did give it a C+. Those 2 matches were awesome. But there were some, Macho Man, the right guys made appearances.
Yep.
We got to see Macho, we got to see Roddy, we got to see Mr. Perfect, a few others there. But yeah, without those 2 matches, this is a crap card. I will say this though, I've watched this match I watched this pay-per-view when I was younger. My brother and I had this VHS set of WrestleManias 1 through 14. So I watched the heck out of those tapes. And Dakota picked this pay-per-view. It's one of his all-time favorites. I remember watching, as bad as that main event was, I remember watching and seeing Brett finally get the win. And as a kid, I know what you felt, Dakota. I know what you felt, and that finally, that glorious achievement of Bret Hart. So I will give credit there, and I felt that when I was a kid, but now it's just, as a smark, it's just like, man, that was ass.
Yeah.
So, coming up next week, we have one of my favorite pay-per-views, and I'm actually worried that it won't stand the test of time.
We will see.
It was the first TNA pay-per-view I ever ordered, Bound for Glory 2005. We got a DVD for this if you're watching. Some matches on the card. We have a Monsters Ball match between newly cemented. Is that the right word? Cemented?
Newly cemented? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
TNA Hall of Famer, the Monster Abyss.
Yes, congrats.
He deserves it.
Yes, sir.
Versus Rhino versus Sabu versus Jeff Hardy, who is not too drunk to wrestle on this one. We also have Samoa Joe versus Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yes.
We have the NWA Tag Team belts between America's Most Wanted and the Naturals. We have an Ultimate X match with Matt Bentley, who is Shawn Michaels' cousin, Petey Williams and Chris Sabin. We have an X Division Championship Iron Man match between AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels. We have a 10-man gauntlet for the main event for that match. It's going to be Abyss, Rhino, Monty Brown, AJ Styles, Ron Killings, Kip James, which is Billy Gunn, Samoa Joe, Lance Hoyt, Sabu, and Jeff Hardy. And then a main event, special referee Tito Ortiz versus Jeff Jarrett, and the winner of that battle royal.
Potential to
is
be pretty...
Kip James Billy Gunn or Road Dogg?
Billy Gunn. BG James, who also is in this card.
Okay.
One of the earlier matches I didn't list off is on it.
Yeah, that is the potential to be a pretty sweet
there's
show,
no
dude.
way that's not a good show.
If I remember correctly, it's good. But then after that, let's kind of roll out what we got going on.
Roll out.
Next, after Bound for Glory, we'll have King of the Ring 1998, which is a big one. Which is the couple matches off the top. We got Undertaker versus Mankind in a Hell in a Cell, and Kane versus Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Championship.
Both great.
After that, we have Halloween Havoc 1996, which was a fan request. It has Hogan versus Savage for the WCW World Title in the main event, and we also have the Outsiders versus Harlem Heat. Some other good matches on there as well. After Halloween Havoc 1996, we have WWE Evolution 2018, which Zach will not be here for.
Yeah, you guys will be running ship.
We'll have a mystery third man, I'm thinking.
We'll have a third man, but we don't know who it is yet.
It's Sean Stasiak.
I wish.
Hey, Doc, hit us up.
And then in November, we're going all Survivor Series all month long, which I think is fun. We got Survivor Series 1990, Survivor Series 1997, which is the Montreal Screwjob, Survivor Series 2018, and Survivor Series 2003.
That should be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to be fun. I love the Survivor Series style matches.
Yeah,
you will have lots to give thanks for.
Yes. And we're working out our December schedule. We have a few shows on the docket. I do want to get the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor 2015 is what we decided on.
I think so.
We're going to try a Ring of Honor show December, January, sometime around there. We could use some more requests. We have some coming in. You'll find the thread on our Facebook. We have some good requests. I can't remember any off the top of my head, but go to our Facebook. I think
my brother said Halloween Havoc like 86 or something.
89, I think. 89. Yeah. And then Colin Vassarino had a couple.
Yeah, but we could use some more, and we can narrow it down from there. So send us your requests for shows you'd like to see in the month of December, and going forward, we will keep wanting requests for in January onward, because we are a steam train that is moving, and it's not going to stop.
We might be moving slow, but we're going to get back on speed soon.
That's right.
And we're just some sexy boys. Sexy boys.
I'll make your ankle hurt. I think I switched songs there. Anyways, we love every single one of you guys who are listening. Please share this with your friends. Please engage with us on social media.
Thanks for listening. I'm Brett Screwed Brett.
Brett Screwed Brett.
Ooh, yeah.